Hey there, I'm Brandon, and this is the Dirt Church Devotional. We just got back from a trip down to the dunes, the Oregon coast, riding the sand dunes. I was so excited to get down there. We haven't been down there in several years. I haven't ridden the dunes in a number of years, and I thought this is going to be great, going to be so much fun, and it was. But I got to tell you, we got out there, and 10 minutes into our first ride, 10 minutes into our first ride, I'm goofing around, having fun, trying to get used to the bike again. And my bike decides to go all whiskey throttle on me. I've hit a little jump, little sand dune, got, Napoleon Dynamite's 3 feet of air. But when I went off, the throttle stuck. And when I landed, man, I tell you what, that thing took off like a bullet had been hit with a cattle prod and threw me. And then it went on this 30, 40 yard path of self-destruction. It was flipping and flopping and dropping bits and pieces of itself all over the place. Now, don't worry, I didn't get hurt. I got up and I started walking towards it where it had died, and I'm picking up pieces and collecting them. And I realized when I got all the pieces together, I'd be able to make it look good again. So I took the ignition switch, which had fallen off, came off with the hood, and I put it on, and I turned the key and nothing. I pull it apart. Well, it turns out when it was self-destructing, it threw the ignition switch off, but it lost a piece in the heart of the ignition switch. And without that piece, this thing isn't going to start. It'll look good, but it's not going to start. What in the world? And I'm looking around at a sea of sand. And a friend of ours asked me, she says, well, what's it look like? I said, I'm not exactly sure, but I know it's about the size of a quarter, and it's going to have a square on one end that helps it engage. That's about all I know. And so we walked back over the sand, and within about, less than a minute, she says, hey, is this it? And sure enough, she had found the piece. I put it back into the ignition. I cleaned it off, put it back in the ignition, turned the key, and the bike fired right up. The trip was saved. It was awesome. But it got me to thinking, how many times do we go out, we head out in life, and we're going to have all kinds of fun. We're going to be our own boss. We're going to run and do all the things we always wanted to do. But before long, we begin to spiral out of control. Those things that seem like they were going to be so much fun, they start to take over, and man, it whiskey throttles. And then it goes into a path of destruction. And we pick ourselves up, and I know we can dust ourselves off, and we can kind of make ourselves look presentable and look good. But oftentimes we end up with a piece missing. And though we might look good on the outside, on the inside, we're not working, we're not firing, we're not going. Because there's something missing. Can I tell you? I know somebody who's really good at finding missing pieces. In fact, in the Bible, he said that he came to seek and to save what was lost. He's really good at it. In fact, the Bible says that if he had 100 sheep, he would leave 99 of them on a hillside just to go and find one. So let me challenge you today. Maybe your life is spiraled out of control. Maybe things aren't working. They look all right on the outside, but on the inside, it's not so good. Can I challenge you? Can I encourage you? Talk to the one that can find the missing piece. His name is Jesus. He's just waiting to hear from you. Chew on that.